guys, aloha!
We're back.
So hopefully this live works.
Yeah.
We're having some internet connection issues, but that's okay. So we're in
It's all
Hawaii,
good. Third time's a charm.
Yeah. So I'll just start again. For those of you that are just tuning in now, I met Theresa here in Kauai, and I just had it open to see if I would meet someone. And I really wanted to meet an energy healer, so I met someone awesome. And I'm really excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I remember thinking, because I had these flyers that I was trying out, it's totally different animal to be promoting in person compared to like online, which is what I'm used to.
Yeah.
You're like behind a keyboard the whole time, you know, but I had just said, you know, I would love to meet somebody really lovely and to know that the flyers were working.
Yeah.
So to hear that, I was really wonderful. And also secretly was stating earlier in the day, because manifestation, setting those intentions is pretty powerful, I said, I'd love to have somebody that's interested in doing a Facebook Live. And then you mentioned it, and I'm like, yay, okay. It's so crazy. It can be really easy to manifest some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Awesome.
Feels really good. So, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, energies, to guide us together.
Totally. Yeah. It's so nice to not have to worry about the how.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's, I think that's step 2, they call it. But, it's something that I really love to be able to say. You know, I don't have to worry about the how. I just get to say the what I want to feel like. Yeah.
Takes the pressure off a bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so thanks for following the intuition. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Awesome.
It's so cool. I know. It's so funny starting for the 3rd time. It's like a different energy, right?
Yeah.
Because the first 2.
Yeah. Well, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and share a little bit about your story. And just for all of you that are tuning in, we're going to be talking about some really cool energetic stuff today. The ascension, the sacred rays of light, and also how this relates to Hawaii, because Hawaii is a really powerful energetic vortex.
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited to be here with you and for you to share a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you. Please guide me if I don't answer all of your questions. I hope to, but it's interesting with all the energy coming in. Sometimes there can be like a pause in between because there's, with all the different beings of light and rays of light at the same time, it's like listening to a choir.
Yeah.
It's funny they use that word. That's not a word that I would have used, but they're like, yeah, we're like a choir and all singing at the same time. So somehow it comes together really well. But so what I work with are the sacred rays of light, which is creator energy. If you've ever seen like the Pink Floyd t-shirt where the white light comes in, it's I don't know, there's a prism. Thank you. The words don't always come. So it's like, sometimes I get the image and I'm like, do you get what I'm saying? It comes through the prism and then it comes out these different rays of light. It's a different spectrum from what you would normally see from like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. They all have the different colors like blue, yellow, pink, white, green. They go through an entire different spectrum, and they all have archangels assigned to each ray, archaea, which is the feminine, the feminine aspect of the archangels of the light, ascended masters, Elohim, godlike attributes, spiritual retreats, which are on like a different realm or a different dimension that we go to for teaching and that sort of thing. Yeah. Which is fun because I'll get emails from some of my clients that are like, oh yeah, we were at a spiritual retreat, and they would describe it to me and tell me what color, and then I say, oh, okay, here's what I was teaching you guys on. Wow. A particular retreat. So, cool. So they all of those are assigned, so I was born with that particular information, and they have names for us. A lot of us came in just after the time of Christ with Archangel Metatron, and we were known as the priestly order of Melchizedek. Wow. So, light workers, that was the original term of working with those rays of light, specifically.
Amazing.
So, and it's been interesting because a lot of people work with them and may not know, like when they're working with, say, the white light or with the blue light or that sort of thing. They're also sometimes called flames, by the way, which is totally cool, and so it's interchangeably if somebody calls it a ray of light or a flame. It's the same stuff. Like, you've heard of the violet flame, and that's the 7th ray of light of transmutation.
Yeah. And I've heard I heard that there was 7, and then, because I saw this book that was, like, gold-plated in Hawaii on this island last year, and it's all about the sacred rays of light. And then I shared with you how that was really cool, how I found that book here, and you're like, oh no, there's way more than that. So that's really cool. I had no idea,
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because there used to be just 3, the original founder flames, which, if you've heard of the threefold flame of the heart, and you can go Google that, you'll see the 3 original flames, and some of that is within the symbology of the Catholic version of Christ. You'll see the heart, but anyway, that's something else I get into that I love, is the symbology of different things, of the angelics and what they mean and that sort of thing. But back to it, the original 3 flames or rays of light were blue, which was Father God, the Christ consciousness, which is yellow, the 2nd ray, and then the 3rd ray, pink, which was Mother God and unconditional love.
Oh, wow.
And then we expanded into 7 rays of light, which we had up until the end of 2013, beginning of 2014. Earth was expanded into 12. There are currently about 15 that most Melchizedeks are working with right now, to work with the extra 3 to master those personally before we go out and teach them, before they gain access to all of the planet. So most of the planet has access to about 13 right now, but it's definitely the 12.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's actually an infinite number of rays, but it just depends on where humanity's going and how many we can handle. It's like, okay, there's a gigantic lesson on the planet right now about the blue ray of light and personal power that's been going on for 25,000 years, which is why you hear about, like, the indigo races, which are actually blue rays, people born through the blue ray of light. And that's why you've got so many personal power issues within the collective right now.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Oh, we could go down all kinds of rabbit holes, but yeah, that's, to give some of my, soul history. It's people who have that creator energy that come from, like, the 12th ray of light, which is the rainbow ray, which the people here are the rainbow people, so they're called the rainbow people, the natives here to this particular area.
To Hawaii?
Yeah. So
I've seen, like, 7 rainbows since I've been here.
There's a lot of like double rainbows.
And it was funny because right before I went to your healing session, there was a rainbow, and I was praying. Rainbows are a sign for me that it's like good stuff is coming, like on the right path. Yeah. And I was like, "Where's my rainbow? Like, I want to see a rainbow." And then we're in Kapa'a, and it was a few hours before your healing session, and I saw a rainbow, like, right above, like, the elemental therapies where you were doing the thing, and I was like, okay. And then literally the next day I saw, like, 4 rainbows in a row. 4 different epic rainbows. And then the day after, 2 rainbows, and, like, I've never seen this many rainbows before.
That's interesting because most of my clients report that they see a lot of rainbows.
Oh, cool.
So you'll see it in the, if you're on Kauai, you can come to one of my group healing sessions if you're interested in working with the rays of light on Thursdays from about 6:30 till about 8 if you want to come see what that's like. It's called an elemental practice, but I love that you're seeing the rainbows. It was neat. Sometimes in the healing group meditations you can see the different rays of light and lights flicker, and it's all kinds of fun stuff. I'm just, I always like to, like, simplify things, like, because I know some of my audience might not necessarily know what we're talking about. Sure. Oh, yeah, on a practical level? Yeah, let's...
So sometimes it's nice to, like, for someone who might be really new to this, but might be curious about it, like, so are these these are energies that are working with us that are, like, seen in different colors, and the different frequency of their vibration is a color, basically.
You a large part of how it's interpreted is through color. It's source energy. It's just very detailed source energy. So I've always been oriented towards a whole lot of detailed information, but on a surface level, it is source energy, but different colors and forms of light, because what happens is when you've got light and you have sound, it forms the platonic solids, and then the platonic solids, you add like motion to it, or it starts spinning, and then it creates physical form.
Cool.
So sacred geometry is a big portion of what, you know, I also talk about, but mostly I like to take the rays of light and help people heal with them. So I hope that's a little bit more practical.
No, that's great.
But it's if you're wondering what dimension it comes from, it's source energy.
And then, like, if we wanted to connect with them, like, would we just call upon the rays of light?
Yeah, you absolutely can. You can call on. Man, I'm trying to think of some of the simple ways that you can. I kind of need an idea right now. They're talking about, okay, so if you want to bless your house, you can say, okay, rays of light. Very simply, I will call on Archangels of the Light, Archea of the Light, Father, Mother, God. I call upon you now to bring in whatever rays of light would be beneficial for this space. Sometimes I'll say, okay, I happen to know the information about the rays, but if you don't, you can say, whatever rays of light it is that would support me to uplift my mood, please bring those in now. And you'll notice that the mood shifts tremendously. Or you'll say, which I just felt it right here.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to, there's all kinds of ways that you can use it. Mostly they're just stating, how can I uplift my mood? And that's an easy way to say, okay, call upon the rays of light, whatever it is that you can do to help uplift this situation, please do so. Yeah? So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know you said that you've been channeling this information since you were young. Yeah. So did you know what was happening? Or?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So back when I was younger, I didn't know what trance channeling was, which for some of you who don't know, it's where I can hear some of the questions for some of you that are asking, but and so I'm trying to recenter, because there's a lot of questions and energy all at the same time. I didn't always know, so I was trance channeling when I was really, really young, where the beings of light of these different rays would come in with messages for people, and I didn't necessarily have control over it, and there weren't like esoteric stores necessarily. They were pretty sporadic, so I didn't know what it was. So for a period of time I shut it down. I remember standing in my living room, and it's almost a form of anger, but like total power, and I remember shutting it down. That's Ruba, by the way. She wants to say hi. So usually it's chickens that have something to say here, the roosters on Kauai. It's like they're like our local squirrels. But Ruba's downstairs. She's great. She's the resident dog, so cool. But I hope that explains things a little bit differently. And somebody's asking intuitively, well, how did we switch from channeling to the rays of light? So the rays of light have these beings of light that are archangels, ascended masters, Elohim, that bring messages to humanity and aid in the ascension process. So right now we are in the age of Aquarius, which is represented by Saint Germain and the violet ray of light, which is the seventh ray, and they're here for major transformation. And so one of the things that they mention is, hey, we have messages for the people, so that's something that I'll do, is I'll bring them through sometimes for different messages. Okay, and then right now, because it's so accelerated, Saint Germain can be very stern. It's a very different energy compared to like Age of Pisces, which was represented by, Jesus and the yellow ray of light. Because I'll let you know, there's all the zodiac signs are associated with the ray of light and with different ascended masters and that sort of thing. Cool. I'm going to be putting some videos out on that for people to let them know, like, here's who's working with you right now in your life. So.
Lots of details.
So many details. If you want details, like, for me, she's helping me to be like, okay, let's keep this general, which I appreciate so much.
I would like to go deeper. Yeah. Okay. Like, I would love to, I don't know if this would be too much, but to go into the rays of light.
Sure.
And, like,
what they all are, the different ones.
And how we can call upon them.
Sure.
Because I'm sure, like, they might resonate with different people.
Yes. I'd be happy to tell you. Normally, up until recently, this has been information the Melchizedeks keep very private.
Yeah.
So this is very new for me to go so public with it.
Yeah.
And so, but it's exciting because it's something that I feel really, I believe, empowers people to be able to work with source energy in this way in a very creative process. So, let's see, we can go through, do you want to go through the different ones?
Yeah.
The first one that a lot of people will really, really resonate with is a cobalt blue. It's this color of blue, which most people are really drawn towards. That is the first ray of light of Father God, divine will. When you get into these godlike attributes, they kind of like branch off into like boundaries, self-love, spiritual protection. The angels assigned are Michael and Faith. Michael, some people say Michael, but it's sort of like having somebody named Charlie, but their name is Charles. He'll answer to like Mike or Michael, but the correct pronunciation they gave me was Michael, means perfect one of God.
Cool.
So they work with spiritual protection, also faith. Faith is a light blue color. Oh, he wants me to mention, if you guys are seeing like specks of light, like little bitty orbs, or like if you're here on Kauai and you can see light, you'll be driving down the roads and you can see all the different rays on the road. There's a lot of blue and violet here. But back on topic, Mikhail says, if you see the speck of light and it's just a little flash and it's little, it's usually him showing up to let you know. And
oh, cool.
He's
I
there.
see that all the time.
You do?
Yeah.
He'll do that for two things. Either if you've said something really profoundly true,
you'll
see the flash, and it'll be little. It's usually off to the left. Some people see to the right.
Yeah.
But for me, it's mostly over here. And then also, if he's showing up to protect you, if there's something nefarious, which sometimes happens, they'll sometimes say, okay, and he'll flash, and sometimes it's needed.
Yeah, I see that all the time. So
do you?
It's interesting to have that knowledge about what that is, and I had a feeling that's what it was, but it's nice to be like, oh yeah, this is actually what's happening.
Yeah. And I do teach a course on this that has very in-depth information that's almost everything that I know about the different rays, and that's very, very in-depth. But that etheric retreat is sitting over Lake Louise in Canada, so you'll see. Yeah. Have you been there recently?
Where is that? Is that?
It's no. It's Lake Banff. No, wait, Lake Louise in Banff, Canada. Sometimes the words get
I haven't
a little
been there, but Matt's been there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
That is a retreat of the first ray of light. A lot of people will go there physically, and you'll start to see on Instagram that's how they let me know when there's a number of souls going there. It'll be like nothing but pictures of people at Lake Banff or whatever retreat it is. So there's a physical plane where people are actually picking up on that first ray of light very, very intensely. And then there's also where you may go there in meditation. You can actively go there, but you have to have a purity of heart to get in. That's the one thing that they ask. So if people are like, wanting to go just to go, there's lessons. Like, it's pretty in-depth ascension work that goes there. The second ray of light is yellow, so it's really interesting to be putting out so much of this, but the second ray of light is yellow, and this is the Christ consciousness ray, the ray of joy, illumination. You use this ray when you want to understand something. So if you're in school and you're going, I really would like to have some clarity on this, you can call on that yellow ray and say, help me to understand. It's also very active right now with the violet flame in the head when it comes to clearing thoughts out.
Right.
So you can use that quite a bit. Let me see, Jophiel and Christina, the archangels, and there's Kutumi and Buddha and Christ and Mary Magdalene.
For the yellow ray?
Are the ascended masters for the yellow ray.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but I'm blanking on where the retreats are right now. But anyway, if you get into the course, I can tell you about that. I'm gonna have some more. I have a YouTube channel, by the way, if you guys like some of these videos and you'd like to see. I have some stuff that's getting put out over the next month or so about this stuff.
Yeah.
You know when it's like so much information that I'm going,
like,
yeah. So I told him recently, like, okay, on a practical level, help me to get these videos out. But
so
that's
something that's important about the second ray is, like, if you had mindset blockages or like things getting in the way, like feeling disempowered, then that could be a good one.
Disempowered would be the blue one.
Oh, okay.
But if you've got, because that's all about like divine will, personal power, Father God, protection. Also works with government and police and that, and military and that sort of thing. Ironically, right?
They wear dark blue.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, a lot of them will wear that blue and not knowing it's there's crystals associated, like the list. There's birds associated. It's like it's so much information.
Cool.
So when you start to see like certain animal totems, like the falcon, it's usually the raptors. The falcon or the owl, they're associated with different rays of light that you're working with too. So people are far more connected to these rays than they may realize. Yeah. So I'm just here to empower people to work with it. But to answer your question, so like it's a yellow house they're pointing out, so it's a lot of joy. So like when it comes through, when that ray comes through for healing, people will start laughing on the table and say, I don't know, but I have this urge to laugh. Is it okay? And I'm like, girl, yes, because it'll clear out the heart chakra really quickly too. But specifically, it'll work with the thought. You can, if you're having something where you know you want to change your thinking, where you're cognizant enough, but you're not necessarily sure what subconscious beliefs need to be shifted, you don't have to know, and you can just call on the yellow ray of light, call on the violet flame to come in and change those thoughts that are, or beliefs to be more productive towards this. And it'll happen, and you may feel a little bit of pressure or headache in the head, but that's just energy shifting. Yeah. So.
Amazing.
Yeah?
Awesome.
So, this is fun. I like getting to teach people how to use this stuff,
It's so cool.
It totally is.
Because we're already working with it, but it's nice to actually know what's happening and how we can harness the power even more. Yeah.
I know, and I love the rainbows that you're wearing right here. It's so perfect. Did you want to go on to the third ray of light?
Sure.
Okay, so the third ray of light is pink. It's baby pink. By the way, they also want me to mention there's the 3 different versions of the rays. There's like the jewel tones, which are the brighter colors. The feminine color, those are typically the masculine. The feminine is more like the pastels and the opalescent. So you'll know because it's a little bit more gentle. So yeah, so Mika's coming through and saying if they want. Some of you are feeling right now the blue ray of energy coming in, and that typically will leave you with like a hot flash. It'll feel really, really, really hot. He's making a joke right now. They're very ironic in terms of he's like, I'm hot, haha. But just like, as somebody who's never been human, he's got quite the sense of humor. He also works with kids. I know, you've got so much to say. So he's super excited to get to come through and connect with people. He's like a kid himself, even though he's usually seen as so serious. What was I going to say? Remind me what else there was.
He's working with kids.
Yeah, he's working with I don't know. It's okay. I'll come back to it. There was something else, but he was like so excited to oh yeah, the feminine will be a cooler, you'll get more chills. And that's more of the feminine.
I remember you mentioned that in the healing. And like, I feel both of those. Yeah. So it's interesting to...
That's good to hear. That's somebody who typically has more of the balance of the masculine and feminine within them. Because some can be... somebody else they want me to mention is just because you're like male in gender doesn't mean you'll pick up just on male energies. Yeah. So, or feminine in gender doesn't mean you'll pick up just on feminine energies. Okay, they have so much to say. The other thing is they're stating if you have a masculine body, you sometimes have a feminine soul hanging out in there and that sort of thing. So, I feel like I've witnessed that. Totally, yeah. Well, you can switch to, sometimes, like, I used to race vehicles, and I will switch into more of a masculine persona.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. just like, I'll be like, yeah, because I've even had people say, like, man, I thought you were a dude with long hair. And I'm like, because I was really exuding my masculine side.
Energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because that's when, like, I can turn on the mental faculties, and the mind will move really fast and, and react quickly. That's masculine side of myself that can be more mental, will do that. Versus the feminine, which I'll be like, oh yeah, I can jive there. So it's far more, and the masculine is heart-based as well, but has a little bit more of a mental aspect, and the feminine can be really soothing. They're bringing that ray in now, the pink ray, to let you know what that feels like, which is a little bit more smoothing and softer and slower.
Yeah.
And flow.
Yeah.
That's the unconditional mother love ray that is just...
It's nice. A high heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super sweet. That's a little bit tied to the 8th ray too, because it's the in between the green and the blue. It gets that teal 8th ray integration stuff.
Cool.
So, but yeah, she's pink, and I'm trying to remember. I think it's Samuel and Charity of the pink ray, and yeah, you have more feminine ascended masters there. Cool. Although I will say this on behalf of the feminine ascended masters, some of them want to be known as well. They want you to know some of them are like real badasses. So like like Callie is like
such a badass.
Oh, she is. Yeah. So they're not. The feminine isn't always that soft, which is why I think in our society we have those pressures to be that way. I've dealt with that personally, where I'm like, yeah, but sometimes I'm Pallas Athena and channeling that energy and just spitting out truth, you know, or sometimes just working with some, I don't know. It depends.
Yeah.
Whatever. It flows. Like some days it just depends on what I want to work with. Yeah. So, but yeah. You want to go back to the rays of light? Yeah. Okay, so the 3rd ray is pink. And yeah, it's definitely not a peachy pink. That's a different ray, which so I can be a little bit more specific with that one. But they keep showing me ballet with that, and I'm not sure what that's all about. I guess because it's a little bit more of a feminine dance form.
Grace.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one that works with the heart quite a bit. Now, when you work with all 3 rays of light, your world is really functioning well. If you're get out of balance and like with the world, you're only working with the masculine ray, then and you don't have the feminine, you're going to have a very difficult time actually manifesting things into the world. And unfortunately, it's been like an abuse of the masculine and the feminine. And then if you need to be working with all 3 with the for things to really be functioning
in harmony and actually have that alchemy, basically.
And we all have those rays that are sitting in the sacred heart, which are I'm showing you a little tiny because they're normally about 1/16 of an inch, but you can expand them and connect them to source and things like that. I do that for you in healing sessions so that you know what that feels like. But it can fry your nervous system, so I keep you up at night, so it's like you gotta bring them back down when you're done working with them.
Cool.
But yeah, those are the 3. They call them the founder rays. Yeah. That's the Trinity, guys. Those 3 rays of light.
Awesome. What about the Aloha ray?
Yes.
Like I want to talk about Hawaii and how. Yeah. Just tell me about.
To go into that. Okay. So you hear the word Aloha here, and it was a little bit surprising to me, but there is a ray of light that is the 6th ray, which is ruby, violet, and gold. Cool. And that retreat is sitting here over Mount Waialeale. And
the crazy waterfall vortex.
Yeah, which receives the most rainfall out of the entire world. It's some like 400 or 500 inches. Yeah. It's on the other side of this mountain that's right here, but it used to be my backyard up until recently. And if you've been, it is.
Have you been?
Sick. I haven't been to the crater yet. Yeah. I need to go, but I'm just
apparently it's really hard to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go when it feels. I have been to the spiritual retreats. Now, these spiritual retreats or etheric retreats are sitting over usually some mountainous area.
Cool.
And that one's sitting over Mount Waialeale. It looks, if you look in meditation or with your third eye, because these retreats are seen on a different dimension through here, it'll look like a crystalline city. That one in particular.
Yeah, I feel like I've been there.
Yeah. Well, you work with the rays of light. I've looked through some of your photos, and so something that I love to do is to pick out the angelic rays of light in photographs. So, yeah, you definitely work with the rays a lot.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
I can show it to you.
Yeah.
You want to see the different rays.
Yeah.
There was one where you've got, like, a lot of the violet flame, then you're pulling in the 12th ray into your hands.
Cool.
So, yeah, and I'm like...
That's so exciting.
Yeah, so on my social media, I'll point it out and say, hey, guys, here's the different rays and things. And there's a lot of heart fields that come out, and, like, toroidal fields are your extended heart fields.
That's so awesome.
Google the toroidal field if you want to know what that feels like, because sometimes they show up in photography.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
But anyway, so the Aloha ray, like, does this have a specific energy about it that kind of encompasses Hawaii?
Yes, yeah. So the typical image or feeling for Hawaii, where it's like this giving and being of service and this, like, love energy. It's a certain way of being, which was the original way of being on this planet, because this is one of the first places that was ever inhabited, called the Garden of Eden, the Garden Island, for a reason.
Wow.
So it's like a collective exhale with that, but that's the ray that it'll connect you to if you want to know how to be of service or what that feels like to be of service without expecting something in return, what it is that you can give that brings you joy, which also brings joy to the rest of the world. You connect with that sixth ray of light. So it's a combination of the ruby ray, the gold or the yellow ray, which is the second one, and then also the violet ray, which is the seventh ray of light. Mm-hmm. So I guess to answer your question, if I don't know 100% how to describe it, it's just a feeling that I have when you think about Hawaii and how it's projected in the media. That's the sixth ray of light. Yeah. Is how that feels. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's even interesting just being here at the Aloha Spirit. It's like everybody just wants to, like, give you things and, like, be nice to you. It's like it's awesome, you know, but it's just like this energy, and I can kind of see how maybe that's related. Maybe that Aloha Spirit essence.
That is for sure. Yeah. That's the embodiment of the sixth ray,
just giving without expectation, supporting each other,
and not overgiving either. It's like it's a whole lot of heart energy that's held, like, right here, and that's why so the pace, the movement of it is what you'll see in sort of like in like hula. It's a grounded. It's definitely not up here.
It's flowy.
Yeah, it's very flowy. Yeah. Even though somebody's going to say, but hula isn't Hawaiian. Well, that's getting really far back into some other history. But if you want to know what the pace is like, that's what you see.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we even went to a Slaki concert here. Oh. Yeah. And for those of you who probably don't know, but basically Slaki is this traditional Hawaiian way of playing the guitar, and it's super relaxing. Like, you've probably heard it before. It sounds like the waves. It sounds like you're in Hawaii, and it's just so relaxing. That energy, I'm just like...
It is, yeah. It can be, I love it. It's totally, it's, well, like, some waves can be really, really calm, and...
Yeah.
Oh, they're saying it's like a lullaby. The sixth ray is like a lullaby.
I can see that.
Not so.
Yeah, I was falling asleep.
Yeah, and it's a little bit, feminine, but it's got a power behind it as well. I haven't necessarily focused on that one as much as I have, some of the others.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the newer lessons that's coming in, or focuses for for the planet, because we've been on that Blu-ray lesson for a very long time.
Yeah. So are we shifting out of that Blu-ray lesson?
Yeah, So over the next, 5-10 years, we're moving out of the abuse of power, the abuse of the masculine, the abuse of the feminine, moving out of, blaming and moving into our personal power, which is why you see so much of the manifestation coming up, because it's part of, oh, wow, so my fate is what I create.
Yeah.
That's a lot of personal power. Somebody who's a Blu-ray that's experiencing powerlessness, that's a very advanced sort of program or realization to be going through. So sometimes that can be overwhelming for the collective to go, oh, wait, so this, human being we're projecting onto is really a representation of something within me to shift. You know, I can't just wait for a human being to come and save, they want to use the word president, but that's when it gets that's a whole different subject as to who's he's reflecting within. So, that was a pretty big, energy update video that I did about a year ago. But, we're moving out of, once humanity has found their personal power again, and then it's this unity, which is the 12th ray of light, which is the rainbows, which is why we have the rainbow children here, because they're from the 12th ray of light. These are the new creator beings that are okay, we're going to shift into doing something else on the planet.
Nice.
We're going to create a new world in a different way, and you can tell because when they're born, they have all the rainbow energy around them.
Oh, cool.
And there's, some photography. There's a birth photographer that you can see, all of the archangels of that ray of light that are present with the child. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see on the caretaker, there will be an orb on the pinky that'll show the ray of light for the child. I don't know why it's there, but that's what I keep finding in birth photography.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
The mother usually will have an orb when it's within hours of it. You can ask the rays of light to show up in photography sometimes if you've got a purity of heart.
Yeah. And they'll come.
Yeah. So we're moving into a time more of unity and peace and creating something.
So we're moving into different. The rainbow.
We're gonna move once we're finished with the Blu-ray lessons.
Okay. There's still some stuff.
Yeah, because this has been that's why people are feeling really powerless. I'm well, that's part of it, but it's the tail end, and then the Blu-rays are ascending out of here and going somewhere else. And because that's been going on for about 25,000 years, that sort of thing, and a lot of that started to shift when Christ and Mary Magdalene came in, because Christ came in embodying the feminine, and Mary Magdalene came in embodying the masculine.
Cool. Which
was something they told me for the first time, I think it was September 2015, when they came in and were by the way... Because they knew at the time if they came in with a female messiah that they were she was out. So that was the first to create a shift to balance the scales, so to speak, to stop abusing the masculine power and to bring in the feminine. Because we didn't even have the feminine archangels in here for a while, because it just wasn't, the feminine was so suppressed. By the way, they definitely want to mention the feminine collective of the archangels and beings of light. Want to mention that they voluntarily stepped down. It was not a forced down. It is important not to blame the masculine for that. This is something we all created and agreed to as a collective.
Wow.
So there's a lot coming up here, because it's just stuff that's not always easy for me to talk about, because it's so much easier, part of that powerless paradigm, to project and be angry at something else instead of realizing, oh, okay, I can see we created that because we wanted to know what it felt like to have extreme powerlessness, and now we're creating a whole new cycle of unity, and what do we want to create next? So you're going to see a completely different paradigm very, very soon. So I talk about that monthly. Yeah. Well,
thanks for what date is it? Is it?
What day is this?
Is this the 24th?
Is it? Is it Christmas Eve?
No.
I'm like, wait, what day is this?
What month is it?
I know. What year? Yeah, 2018 definitely feels better. I think it's I think it's the 24th.
Is there anything like that you want to share about the coming month or year?
Yes. Huge.
Or anything that's coming
Huge.
that you've been channeling?
Yes. Main thing that they want to discuss, it's coming up within the collective, is taking our power back in terms of our own thoughts.
Yes.
Sometimes those thoughts are coming from a past ancestry. It's like somebody else's voice.
Yeah.
So just changing the channel onto what it is that you're thinking about, and then that's changing our reality. There were some... That was the main thing, because people are saying, oh, but I know how to manifest. And I'm like, yeah... Well, okay. Here's something in terms of healing. Some people want to like label things, or let's focus on the problem. Mm-hmm. But what they really want is focusing on where it is you want to be, and pretending you already have that and embodying that in a new way of manifesting. Manifesting is the form of healing. Yeah. So you can meet with me. We can go through and change all the subconscious beliefs that are out of the way. I hear it when people start talking. I can feel it where it is in your body.
Yeah.
We, and everybody who's worked with me has manifested sometimes before the call's even over what it is that they want. So the main message is change your thoughts for manifesting, and then, you know, still look at the subconscious beliefs and switch those. So
it's kind of like Abraham Hicks, type of deal.
Yeah, it's you're gonna see. That's why you're gonna see so many manifesting classes coming out, and people are like, "But I know how to manifest," and I'm like, "Yeah, it just needs to be marketed differently so that people understand. Okay, you're already dealing with these thoughts. Let me show you, because that's part of the process." Yeah, that's a really big thing. The other thing is about fate. Again, fate is what you create. It is not something, oh, well, they want me to, you know, go and do this and that. That's avatar contracting. There's maybe 10 people on the planet that have that, and even then they have free will choice. So you get to decide. Another message that they're mentioning about, they want you to, in terms of, it's a lot of empowerment stuff. So last year was setting the foundation. This is the year for stability, finding new stability, which is why, oh gosh, guys, there's so much information. Go check out the video on the particle emergence and particle convergence, and you'll understand why so many timelines collapsed and why there's so much change right now. But the last thing that they want to mention is, what was it? Start clearing your own energy. And don't say, oh, but I call on the angels. No, you need to really, like, they want to see people learning actual, easy, practical modalities that take like 2 to 5 minutes a day to cleanse their energy. The Hathors are here. So, yeah, some of this hasn't been easy for me to talk about, so it's clearing out right now. But there's pretty simple techniques that you can use for scanning, you know, your energy, and I mean, it takes like 2 minutes. If you know Reiki, give yourself Reiki every day. Focus on one chakra every single day. If you know how to heal the rays of light, or you can even just call on the rays of light. Say, rays of light, cleanse my energy. It'll do it for you. You don't have to know what the rays are. You'll just start to feel things shift. There's an easy thing. I teach like Tibetan chakra toning. There's all kinds of easy things. If you like sound, it's like a different note on the piano for what it is that you might like. Some people like Reiki. Some people like the rays of light. It depends. And make sure you use it on you and not somebody else. But there's an easy scanning technique that you can use as well that I teach. It's a pretty simple process, but they want you to take responsibility for your own energy and cleansing that, because to be able to make it as an empathic individual over the next like 5 to 10 years, as you know, some of the collective energy, because it's been pretty quiet up until the collective starts to really awaken, which is what's been activated as of November of 2016 with that catalytic event. It's important to keep our energy clear.
Right. Yeah.
So those are the really biggest sorts of things.
Yeah. Is it because a lot of things are shifting and people are just kind of letting go of stuff? And
So people are like expressing a lot of anger right now, and it's you know, important to have that expressed. But if you feel it hit your body, it's important to be able to clear that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be able to see it or hear it or anything, but at least be using some sort of technique. And for some people, it's baths, which if it's okay.
I was just gonna segue into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's the world is very much so needing a physical product to provide that, because the rays are not tangible, they're not super practical. I try to make them practical.
Yeah.
I know, like funny she says bottle them up, because I have these things, they haven't launched just yet, but I have bottles that represent each ray of light, and so this one does a complete auric cleanse, and you just, if you don't mind me spraying it, they're completely unscented, but they have the rays of light, and you just spray it, and it cleanses your auric fields. It brings in the beings of light and the first ray of light of spiritual cleansing and protection. You will feel it pretty, even if you're not sensitive, you're going to notice a difference when you're using it. That's called Cleanse and Shield. That's the first ray of light. It also, there's one that is very similar, that is the Boogeyman Spray for kids. So if you have children that, when I was younger, I could see a bunch of stuff, and I didn't feel like I had control because my parents didn't understand what it was. I had to rely heavily on the angels to be able to tell me what was happening. Yeah. Mikael was always by my side. So this is a spray that I wish I had when I was little, where, you have a kid, even adults, there's some adults too, where you can spray it and it cleanses the room. And if your child has like an imaginary friend or something that they don't want, be it of the light or otherwise, they can just spray it. Keep it right by their bedside. Back to the Cleanse and Shield one. This is one that yoga practitioners can use, or healers can use, or anybody where you want to create a sacred space, or cleanse the room before or after, a gathering, that sort of thing. So that one's the Blu-ray, and this one's Illuminate. Still deciding on the name on this one, but this brings in illumination, joy, Christ consciousness, better understanding. It's interesting because the room will fill and have a bunch of yellow light in it. It brings all the rays of light and the beings of that ray in.
That's awesome.
Now I have just two more. I have the Love one, which this is a fun one. If you request it, I can send it with rose water, but they're unscented currently because I find that most of my people that I work with are very sensitive here. And but this one you can spray, and it brings in unconditional love, motherly love, romantic love. You can spray the sheets. You get what I'm saying? So, and then one of my favorite ones is the personal sprays. So what happens is, when you spray this one, it brings in whatever rays of light it is that you need at that given moment. Yeah. And so you could use it today and have certain rays of light and healing provided for your auric fields. Or in 5 years from now, if you use it, say it's on the shelf and you haven't used it, it'll be whatever rays of light it is that you need. So at that time, it may be something different. And it could be a combination of the different
that's really
rays.
Cool. Yeah. So it's kind of like a portal. Yeah, so it brings them in, but I think this was by personal request of Archangel Mikael, where he's like, you need the Boogeyman Spray for the kids because we want to empower children to be working with Mikael and working with faith and working with that blue ray of light to say, no, I get to command my space even though I'm little. Because sometimes children are taught otherwise. And because we can go to our parents, but for me personally, I might just send this back in time to myself and go, here you go, kid. Spray away. So. Yeah. But yeah, those are my babies. There's more coming out. There's one for abundance. Archangel Hope came forward. She's like, I really want to be part of the pack. So yeah, there's all kinds of different ones. If you join my mailing list on my website, which is theresamonro.com, you'll be notified. We're finishing up some of the labels now, but if you don't care about the labels, just email me and we'll talk. However, but it's TheresaMonro.com. We'll take you to my website.
newsletters down at the bottom to sign up.
Yeah, and you can post that on the link after.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are looking, she'll post it for sure.
Yeah.
You can check out her page and yeah.
It's fun. It's nice to be able to bring the rays of light to you in a physical form.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I like the idea of a spray, too. Like, recently I've been using that rose spray that I found, and it's just, like, so nice, so.
Well, the roses are representative of heart energy and femininity, and that was something they had me do when I was... Sometimes a lot of the femininists had to, like, hang out in their masculine to feel safe.
Yeah.
So one thing they had me do was use everything at Lush that was rose, and I could not stand the scent. And I was really having a hard time. I was really struggling with it. I'm telling you, if you want to balance out your masculine and feminine, and you feel like you've got any kind of resistance, like that's a quick way. Rose spray, and I was using like that argon stuff, and it was really working with my fields, and I had to surrender to get out of that resistance because I didn't feel safe, you know? And now that I realize I can create my own inner sanctum and safety.
Yeah.
But now I love it. Rose water everything.
Yeah, I know, I love it too.
Yeah, so it's so when you see roses opening in meditation, it's because they're opening your heart chakra. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And I heard roses are the highest frequency flower.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They're the highest frequency. You can take I only recommend this if you have a food grade essential oil, because if it's not food grade, it can do real damage. Those carrier oils and stuff are not good. But if you have a food grade one, you can place it underneath your tongue, and if you're energetically sensitive, it will blast anything out of your... That is like a fast way to cleanse.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's, the little known fact about the love one is that it is a subtle way of cleansing, because when you have a lot of love in your fields, you don't need any kind of form of
you're stronger.
Protection. Yeah, because that just...
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, so...
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks for letting me talk so much. There's so much I want to say. I want to do like a series.
There's only like a tiny bit that we covered, you know what I mean? There's so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do more of this.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is so much fun. Are we doing questions?
Do you want to do questions? I know that there were a few questions. If any of you are watching and you have questions, like definitely you can post them.
Ask.
And
if we haven't addressed them, it's because the phone is like...
Yeah, it's kind of far.
We haven't been able to see them. Oh, thank goodness you can scroll. Look here.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, cool. Very interesting.
I don't think anybody has any questions that they've written, but hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in.
How cool. And we both pick our feet up and like cross our legs. It's something that we tend to do. Yeah, it's like spiritual levitation, because one leg is grounding in 3D stuff and one is grounding in higher dimensional stuff.
Wow.
So if you want to ground, one foot's on the ground, and if you're bringing in so left typically is like up from the earth, right will typically be coming down, and so a lot of times if I'm doing my healing meditation, both legs come up.
Mm-hmm.
So
because you're going up there.
Yeah, you do a lot of the same stuff. Because a lot of people are doing this and don't even know they're connecting with it.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part for me, and I'm like, oh, check this out. Here's what's going on. So, yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, we're both wearing black today, too.
Yeah. Which is funny.
You need some of the grounding into the physical plane.
Totally. And, it makes my hair look better. It brings in the highlights, look. Yeah. But, well, that's another topic, too, is some people will say, oh, well, it's just not spiritual to wear black. But black is a very protective color.
I think so, too. Grounding.
And it is grounding, and it brings in the art field a little bit compared to, like, if you're wearing white.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another way to work with the rays of light if you're wearing different colors.
Yeah. I had someone on here the other day or the other week about like color and everything. She did like color sprays and stuff.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Those are like liquid light.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'll have to go and watch that.
Yeah.
She's here, right?
No, she's not here. No. She's in Canada. Yeah. But there's like a small group of people, and I'm so sorry she might be watching, but I can't remember the name of what color mirrors.
Cool.
That's what it is. It's different colors, and then it kind of is like the science of color, but also the energetics. And then like you might be like attracted to a certain color.
Yep.
And there's like 2 different colors in the bottle too, and they work with like different elements. And so you might be like attracted to one, so it's like wear that color more, and you like bathe in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's connecting you with the rays of light too. It's in a different way.
That's pretty cool.
That's a trajectory that these are headed.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but they want to mention like souls are born into different rays, and sometimes you'll be attracted to a certain color for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And so like, if you ask a kid what their favorite color is, that typically is the color they were born into, that they were, that their soul's from. You can also be born as a human into a different ray for whatever your lifetime is, but right now, because of what everything's happening, there's certain rays people are born into.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, but you'll be attracted to certain colors for certain things you're working through. Yeah. And it can be multiple at once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Somebody's asking intuitively, like, it'd be neat to know the rays and the colors and the angels to be able to know who to call on for what for assistance. So, but I teach about that in the Rays of Light course.
So yeah, if you are interested, she does have a lot of online programs. She has a YouTube channel. You have Instagram too.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And forming. Sorry to interrupt. One last thing. Forming on island, but also getting back into a group monthly healing. I haven't figured out the details of that yet, but I just want people to be able to feel it. Doesn't matter where you're at in the world, you'll feel it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So when you're still traveling, you can still join remotely if you want. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, yay.
Yeah. Well, I haven't figured out if I want to do it like online or if I just want to have like a donation and people can join the energetically the physical one that's here weekly.
Could be both.
Could be both. We'll see.
Yeah.
Still getting. Depends on what your needs are. So yeah.
So yeah, we'll send the link. Someone just asked that. Do you have any final things you want to share?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, this is so exciting. This is a dream come true. This is super.
Aww.
This is super fun. I love what you do. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah.
And for having me on and get to connect with these really lovely people.
Yeah, thank you.
And
yeah,
this will be fun to talk more.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and definitely share this with anybody you think might be interested.
Yeah.
Take your friends if they would really benefit from this knowledge, and definitely check out Theresa's courses and YouTube channel and more.
Yeah, I'd love to work with you. There's so many different capacities, and yeah, join the newsletter at the bottom of my website to know when these sprays launch, if that's something that interests you.
Awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.